Hey everyone, so yesterday I posted on my social media, my stories on Instagram and Facebook, talking about declination loops, and I asked if anyone would be interested in a review. Basically, I had a feeling this video would take a little bit of time to put together, and I didn't want to waste it if no one really cared. But I got some good response, about 200 or so people asking to have it, and 4 people that oddly said no, like keep on swiping. Anyway, but anyway, so people wanted to see it, so I'm gonna make a video. And I might do this again in the future to see about other things you guys might want to, I don't know, talk about. So in this video, again, I'm going to talk about declination loops. So just a quick little glance, we're talking about design for Vision declination loops and LumaDent declination loops. Okay, the whole premise is that instead of using a traditional style loop where the lights look, your loops look straight forward, they actually look at a downward angle. So I first discovered this concept. I mean, it seems so obvious, honestly, in retrospect, but I first came across it because I follow Seattle Periodontist, at Seattle Periodontist on Instagram, and that's Dr. Bradley Weinstein. And so he posted about it, and honestly, his post was about face shields, and it was almost so nonchalant about these loops, and I'm like, forget the face shield, I want to know about these loops. And he was awesome. He kind of gave me some tips on how to go about getting them and whatnot. So that was my intro, and that was last spring, I think, about it. So anyway, so I ordered them back then, and I ordered them, got them in, and loved them. Okay, they did a great job. When I ordered them, someone came by to take the measurements, like you're used to with loops, but they're a little unique, and they matched them to me, and they came in, they were perfect, and I really liked them. Well, fast forward a couple months later, I dropped them. And when I dropped them, well, if you look behind me, you can see the little coat hooks I have on my door. Well, I usually hang them from that when I come into my office. Well, unfortunately, when it dropped, it landed straight on the loops from almost 6 feet in the air and just shattered the lenses. So I had to send them back and get them fixed. And I knew from experience with design for Visions it was going to take a while. I was going to be looking at almost a couple months to get them fixed, and they took care of the fix for free, which is great. I mean, it was my fault, but they fixed them. But I said, I need a second pair because I'm going to have to go back to my normal loops, and I want to know, what am I want to have backup. I want to have another set. So I could have just bought another set of those, but I also knew that LumaDent had recently released theirs, their ErgoPrism. And so I thought, you know what, I'm the kind of person that likes to just have one of everything, kind of try things, see what I like the most, so I went ahead and ordered them. And I got them in, and so I've been using both of them. And so now I'm going to kind of break down, now you know why I have both. And this is not a paid advertisement for anything. I bought everything. I paid everything you see in this, I paid money for, and I don't have any incentive. If any of these companies want to send me something for free, I would be happy to take it, but that's not what this is about. This is just giving you a kind of idea of what this stuff is. So I want to first, okay, why do I want these? Well, the biggest thing is we're the idea of using these declination loops allows us to keep our head upright instead of tilting it down like we're used to. Okay, so that is the biggest advantage of using these, because, and a lot of us know about microscopes, and microscopes allow us to look straight forward and never have to adjust change our posture, and we can be better for our neck and our overall longevity. But if you've ever worked with a microscope, they can be tough, especially when you're getting used to them. They're cumbersome to move around. Again, there are some docs out there that are just phenomenal with them. Just they breeze through, and it's a second, they're used to it. But I've tried them, and they work, but it's just, I think it takes a lot of time to become really efficient with them. And since I don't do any molar endo, it just isn't something I thought was something I really needed, but I would like to save my neck. So when I saw these, I thought, geez, I get to have my neck upright. It's easier to maneuver around than a microscope. I can take it from room to room, and yeah. So anyway, so that's kind of why I wanted to do it. Now, one of the most important things you need to know about, and that is that with either of these, this is very important. I'm telling you this first because you can stop watching this video potentially based on what I'm about to tell you. With traditional loops, you're looking straight forward, except down, which means that you are protected with your safety glasses. The problem is, and I have not seen this addressed by either company, when using these loupes, my hands are visible right here, and if I come straight up to my eyes, there's nothing blocking my eyes. There's nothing protecting my eyes from what I'm looking at. The safety glasses are pointless. I mean, other than from frontal insult, but we're worried about splashback from the patient. So, truth be told, until they develop a face shield that basically snaps on here and descends to my chin, then that would be fine. I mean, I've thought about it myself, how I can create it. But they need it. They need something that comes down here. For now, I use a Z shield, okay? I am completely protected. And this may look cumbersome and annoying. It's really not. It does not bother me at all. It doesn't hit, especially with these loupes. Other loupes, it can hit the patient sometimes, but with this, there's no hitting the patient. This thing's like $20 and you clean it. It gets cleaned routinely between, obviously, every patient. And I just have one hanging up outside of every single op. So my assistant cleans the room, she cleans the shield. Well, anyway, so this completely protects me. I love it. And I'm okay with using it. So this has no impediment to me for using these. But if you're not comfortable with the idea of using something like this or some other face shield, I don't recommend them at all until we have some other option. A normal face shield, be aware, a lot of the face shields stick out here. We know that, which is fine when you toast your head, but it's not going to work. I can see past it. So again, I really think you need something that comes downward, whether it comes from here back or the face shield that comes from up out. Anyway, so I wanted to point that out first because if everything else from here on out doesn't matter if you can't protect your eyes. Okay. So now let's talk about the two different sets of loupes and pros and cons of each. Okay, so ordering with Design for Vision. So this is the Design for Vision set of loupes. I don't even know what the technical name is for these. I will call them online the Design for Vision Declination Loupes. I don't know what they're called because they don't advertise them. If you want to buy them, you got to get a hold of a rep, and a lot of the reps don't even know they exist. And if they do, I think that some of them will pretend that they don't simply because they're more difficult. Some users don't like them because they can't get acclimated to them, and now the rep looks bad. They're actually cheaper, well, I'll get to that in a minute, than the normal loupes, so maybe that's a reason. I don't know, but that doesn't really make sense to me, they just are. But anyway, yeah, ordering them is not that easy. I didn't have a problem. I called up and got a hold of my rep. Actually, I got a hold of the rep that Dr. Weinstein referred me to, and she hooked me up with my local rep, and it was easy. But I've had a number of people tell me that their reps have no idea what they are. How do I order them? I can't, whatever. And they're not, you won't find them on their website. So anyway, if you can get them ordered, great, that doesn't matter. Then you're past that. But that's something to be aware of. As far as ordering these, it's easy. You go right on their website, and I should mention, when ordering them, once you get a hold of them, the rep's going to come in, going to take your measurements. The measurements are a little different than what you would take with normal loupes, obviously, because there's more angles and stuff that go into it. So they send a rep out. Whereas these loupes, it's done completely online. And I was skeptical at first, like, are you really going to get all the measurements I need based on me taking photos and taking measurements myself? Well, they send you you order them, and then they send you a kit. It comes with a pair of safety glasses that have little lines on them, and they tell you how to take these pictures, and you send them off with a measure, like you literally need a yardstick or a tape measure, something that you can have a few feet worth of length, or a couple feet worth of length. You take these photos, they match it up, and mine fit perfectly. I should say that about both of them. Both of them were perfect fits, and I've not had that good of results with other loupes. I have eye zoom. Okay. I also have another pair of oroscopic 4.8 loupes. I'm a bit of a collector, and I've not had that successful of a fit. Straight away with both of these loupes, they were perfect right at the get-go. So, I give the win to the LumaDent for ordering it. Even though some people might not like that idea, for me, I'm all about ordering online. I can take care of the pictures. I can whatever, and so that worked out well for me. So adjusting is a bit trickier because with these loupes, there are no adjustments that you can do as the owner. Okay, it is what it is. You can have your rep come in and they can try to tweak them or send them back. Design for Vision's turnaround time is a bit ridiculous. I'm sorry, I like their products, but I think they know it. It takes forever. LumaDent, I haven't had to send them back. It was a little bit funny because I found that the measurement, the distance, the working distance I requested was too long. And that's because, I'll get into that a little bit later I think, but when you're upright, you're farther away from your object, okay? Which means your magnification, you need even more magnification. So I was far enough away that I was like, I may want it, I may want my object down here, but I gotta bring it up a little bit because I can't see what I'm doing. I mean, I can see, but it's still small. I was used to 4850X, and even though these are 5, from from that increased distance, it felt like a 3, and I really, was accustomed to much more magnification. So anyway, I was able to, I'm all twisted on my headset right here. I was able to get a hold of them, and unfortunately the rep we spoke to thought they had to send me new parts to increase that length, but reality was the end caps on these loops screw in and out, which allows you to adjust your working length, which is pretty awesome. So I went from 23 inches down to 21. My normal loops are like, I think 18 or 19 inches. That jump to 23 was too much. So anyway, when you adjust these, you do want them as close as possible when you order them because they're convergent. As you adjust them, the optics will start to overlap a little bit, kind of a Venn diagram, Within 2 inches, I mean, it's such a minor, like a 10%, I don't care, it's fine. If you order it perfect, then you don't have to order it. They're perfectly concentric. That's how they are at that 23 inches. But when I dial it back to 21, then I get a little bit of an overlap, and I can work with it. So, adjusting definitely goes in the LumaDent category. And I'll also say that when I dropped and broke my Design for Vision, they had them forever. Okay, they had them for at least 6 weeks to fix them, and when they sent it back, they weren't concentric. I have no idea why, but they weren't correct. So that is a serious, that was a disappointment. Okay, it happens, but then it took another almost month to get them back from that. So that was, time is a lot. So I would say the adjustment goes in the category of LumaDent. Okay, so what about weight? The weight of these, I'm sorry, it's excessive. They are very heavy, okay? These are like feather light. They just feel so much different. And this actually has the light on it right now. If I take the light off, which I honestly haven't done since I've assembled it. Yeah, I mean, this light, these loops are, I don't know how much, but they feel like they're a quarter of the weight. They probably aren't. They're probably 20%, 30% lighter, but they feel a lot lighter. Also, the fact that the optics are not as far extended means there's less leverage, whereas these are quite long. I thought that would be a problem, that I'd have to get farther over the patient because there wasn't enough carryover distance. I was wrong. I don't honestly know how that works, but it is not the case. So I'll talk about that in a minute as to, well, part of what contributes to that. So anyway, as far as weight goes, there's no question that's really worth discussing. These are far lighter. Okay? When you add the light to it, now I have the LumaDent light, and then versus the Design for Vision wireless light, the Design for Vision's wireless light is also far heavier. Okay, so that is, but it's also much brighter. Okay, so this light is superior. It's got 2 settings, but it's heavier. Okay, it's got 2 settings to it. Both settings are brighter, but it is heavier. This one is super light, but it's not a super bright light. I don't care a whole lot about that because I want light. I want to see. Again, I don't do molar endo, so I don't need it that bright. And there is something called white blindness or eye fatigue, where you get with too much light, it can actually adversely affect your vision, short term or even permanently. So I'm not, I've always run all my lights as low as they possibly go because I don't want to wish I hadn't. So it doesn't really bother me. Both of these wireless lights, though, you're going to plan on changing halfway throughout the day. This battery has lasted me all day today, and sometimes it happens, but most of the time you gotta expect to change it halfway throughout the day. The other one, the Design for Visions one, I always have to change it at least once a day. Even if it gives me like 1.5, like 3/4 of the day, I'm going to be changing it at some point. Okay, so I'm going to let you decide which is more important. I don't have a clear winner on this. Brighter light, heavier light. I prefer the lighter light, the lighter weight light, even though it's not as bright. So for me, yeah, that's the win, the LumaDent light, but you might have a difference of opinion there. Okay, so the weight of the loops themselves, though, I said was a clear winner for the LumaDent. And then not just the weight. Now here's the other important thing. Okay, so weight is going to be important to muscle strain and whatnot, holding your head up because you've got this thing out here. Okay, it actually kind of hurts my nose after a while using the Design for Vision. Okay, so it hurts my neck and my nose because if I'm working on a long surgery or something for hours, now it's actually going to almost bruise me by the end of the day. Not, it's gone the next day or a couple hours later, but it's sore. Here's the big one. Okay, and honestly, I don't even have to tighten this neck strap. These stay really well. They do not fall off on me at all. The other ones, because they're heavier, I certainly need to. Now this is an important thing. I'm going to back up so you can see me a little better. Sorry that the distance is bad, but right now let me get these loops all sort of within arm's reach so I don't have to move too far. If I'm sitting in this position, here's my head, and here's where my patient's head might be. So I've got just the slightest downward cast. Not much, but a little bit. So I'm just going to try to remember where my elbows are. Pull these off. Yeah, I have to. So here's my elbows, and here, now I'm in Vision. So you can see that I went from here, this is normal. This is where I was LumaDent. This is where I am with here. So the declination angle is not anywhere near what it is with the LumaDent. Now, let's look at my normal loops to show the true comparison. Here I am. It's crazy when you realize that. I mean, yeah, you can do this in your whole body forward, but if you're actually sitting upright, my chin's up, I'm nearly touching my chest, and these obviously don't stay still because I have to tighten the head strap. But you can see that's where I am. So still, here's normal loops, here's Design for Vision loops, here's LumaDent loops, here's upright. LumaDent wins the angle battle for sure. Okay, so that declination angle is better. It does have one small downside to it. When I wear the LumaDent, or the Design for Vision, a cool little unintended side effect is that when I'm tilted over, okay, you can see my hands, I can actually look below my loops and see my hands without any sort of strain on my eyes, which gives me two sets of vision, one with magnified and one without. And the light is going to be centered right on the hands. So that's actually really cool. It's almost like using a microscope and pushing a button. I can switch from 6x magnification to 0. 6, 0, 6, 0. Can't really do that with LumaDent because my head is so ideally positioned. Here I am. Like I can see, but it's eye strain now. I'm having to really crank them down. It's not comfortable for my eyes to look. I'm practically seeing my facial hair. Okay, so not functional really, which just means I have to move my head a little bit and whatever. Not a big deal, but the light's not going to be perfectly centered because, like I said, there it's centered because I'm not moving my head at all. This, my light's going to be centered on mine, but for me to move, my light's going to be down here. Sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. I apologize. But the point is, I have to move my head a little bit to be able to see. So, the angle, in my opinion, because the biggest reason I'm getting declination loops or got them is for health. LumaDent wins the health battle in the angle. Design for Vision has that little bit of a, well, at least we have the advantage of being able to see both out the bottom of our loops and through the loops without moving our head, and both will have the light where we need it. So it is pretty cool. So I'll give it to LumaDent because protecting the neck, but it's almost a wash. Okay, so now what about magnification? And magnification is super important, of course, especially if you're used to high magnification. All of these, you need to go above what you're used to. If you're used to 3.5, you might be able to get away with the lower setting of both of these. The Design for Vision has a 4.5 and a 6. The LumaDent has a 4 and a 5. Okay, so I prefer. I got the 6 in the Design for Vision and the 5 in the LumaDent. The Design for Vision is noticeably more magnified, but I think that the 5 in the LumaDent is doing just fine for me. It's more akin to a 4.0. And then the 6.0 on Design for Vision is more akin to a 5.0. So they're both about 1x below what you think they are. Because of that working distance, because you're upright, you're so much farther away from your object than having to be all the way down here, okay? So that cuts out an X, if you will. So go as high as you can. I don't think you're going to regret it. I think that, honestly, I don't think anyone should buy the 4.5 or the 4.0. But if you only want 2.5 to 3x magnification, then you're going to go to that lower setting. So Design for Vision wins that. That's the biggest win it has in my book, is it has the better magnification. I think the LumaDent could easily increase the magnification. I say that easily because the field of view is pretty significant. I can see all of my fingers, all of this surface area, which is almost a full mouth. So give me 6x, and I don't care if I can only see a quadrant. That's what I want. I don't care to see the whole mouth necessarily. Everyone's going to have their own opinions on that, but I think I would prefer that. So now we are down to light options. I already talked about that. Yep. Okay, I got a list. I made this video before, and it was long, but it was also all over the place. This video is longer, but more information, I think. Brackets. Now, light brackets. This is a slam dunk for LumaDent, because Design for Vision doesn't even have a bracket that works. It does not have a bracket that works with their own loops for their own light, and that's because with this Buddy Holly frame, the frame itself rests right against the tissue or just above. The only bracket solution they have wraps on this and adds a piece of plastic or even a screw with the set screw right there, and it's just stabbing into my skin. It's totally not functional. Not only that, but even if it worked, it won't work because their light only comes down at an angle of this much. Trying to get a nice background. Let's see, where can I make sure you can see this? Anyway, hopefully you can see it. Here's straightforward. Here's tilted down. That's as far as it goes. With the declination loops, we need it farther down than that, okay? It may seem crazy, but look at the bracket. There's an angle to this bracket. Now this is my bracket. So this thing right here, giving you my finger next to there to show you where it's parallel, the light is not far enough down. All that means is a flush bracket up against the loops, the light's useless. So I made a new bracket that gave it about 40 degrees or 30 or 40 degrees, which allowed it to work. The problem is then the light was setting right on my nose. At least it could parallel my vision, but it was uncomfortable, obviously. So I had to make a whole new bracket that attaches to the loops, to the frame, and it creates this little arm that sticks out, and then the light slides on there. And it works perfectly. It's not as retentive as I'd like it to be, so I need to make some design revisions to it, but at least it works. But Design for Vision, you guys make the loops, you make a light, but you don't have an option for that. And I don't think there's any other company's going to have a better solution for it, because it's not their loops. So if you're watching this Design for Vision, you need a bracket. I've told a couple of your reps, I think I've told them online, and nothing. I'm sitting here with my own designed 3D printed brackets that I had to make myself. So that's a big holdup, in my opinion. If you guys buy these loops and you want a copy of that file, I'll shoot you over the STL. You can print it yourself or have someone print for you. So LumaDent just works. You slide right on. Doesn't hit my nose. There's nothing on the inside, so it doesn't cut up my nose. It doesn't rest on my nose. It's got plenty of angle. It can go all the way straight down if it needs to. It's perfect. That was simple. And then price. Price is the last thing. These are significantly cheaper. I'm actually surprised. Design for Vision is not a cheap company. They're a great company. They've been around forever. I would have expected these to be more expensive. These frames are very sturdy. They're, you know, the old Buddy Holly, but they've revised them a little bit. They look a little bit nicer, I think, you know, the gray at least. But they're pretty inexpensive. Oh, they're like $2,200, I think. And then there's, of course, the light. But non-refundable. If you buy the Design for Vision, you cannot return them. They'll fix them. They'll make them work. But they're not going to give you your money back because they're basically saying, if you're going to buy them, you accept the risk that you can't adapt to them, because not everyone will. I think it's pretty simple, but I can't, you know, put myself in other people's shoes. They just worked for me. These, I haven't bothered to return them, but I have heard that you can return them. And the price is, I think it's closer to like $3,000, but the light's cheaper. The light's like $500 compared to $800 or $900. So you can mix and match lights, I'm pretty sure. Then again, this light you could put on the other one, but the bracket again would probably press on your nose. Unless you drill your own holes to mount this, which is really tempting, honestly. But anyway, or you can get this light and swap it over maybe. I haven't tried that, but anyway, if you're sticking within the company, this light's cheaper, so in the end the prices are similar, but you're still going to spend a little more on the LumaDent side. Kind of a wash there. But yeah, so I think I've covered everything. This is a long video. I'm sorry that I didn't mean to ramble, but I'm hoping I'm covering all the points. This is a significant investment, a few $1,000s. And it's not just that, it's the time. You're going to be spending a few weeks waiting for this, and no one wants to spend $3,000 on something, $3,500 on something, to not receive it for a month and then find out it's not what you wanted. So hopefully this video is worthwhile. All right, thanks so much, guys. I'm going to post this on YouTube. I don't know if I'm even bother trying to just post it directly to social media because of the length. It's about 30 minutes. So now I'm kind of freaking out that I've missed something. I'm going to pause it for just a second. Okay, well, I paused just to see if there's anything I couldn't think of. I think I've covered everything. I'm probably leaving something out. Anyway, hopefully this helps. Let me know if you have any questions. Be sure to check out my YouTube channel. I'm definitely going to post this there. We'll see if I post it on social media. Again, I think I was saying is the link might be too long. Check out my YouTube channel. If you like these kind of videos or whatever videos I put out there, please subscribe. That way you know when new videos are posted. Beyond that, also check out my website, BaronGretterDDS.com. You can find me on Facebook and on YouTube or on Instagram, all BaronGretterDDS. All right, thanks guys. Have a good one. Bye for now.